Hello everybody, Kevin here, Rafter the 94. Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm gonna make one more video for Rise of the Ronin, and pretty much I'm gonna be giving my thoughts about this game, the pros and the cons, what I liked the most and what I didn't like. And it has been a very long journey, to say the least. I think I started my playthrough for this game originally on the PlayStation 5 when it first came out back in 2024. And then I started playing the game again on PC when the game got ported to PC in 2025. And oh boy, this is a long ass game, to say the least. This is a very long game. Granted, you could just speedrun through the main game, but you are missing a lot of the content if you don't do the story. So that's why I took my time in doing the side missions, the bond missions, and pretty much doing everything what I can before I even complete the game. I even did, I think, the majority of the collectible as well. So pretty much I have pretty much completed the entire game. That's include the side missions, the collectibles, and I'll be honest though, I really did enjoy this game. You know, it is Team Ninja's first open world game that they have ever made, and I think they did a pretty decent job at it. Now, granted, there are a lot of problems this game have, which I will address shortly, but it is Team Ninja's first effort into the open world aspect of the game, and I think Nioh 3 that is coming out next month, I think, is going to be open world. So it's going to be basically Rise of the Ronin with yokai and magical powers, essentially. So I'm very curious to see how that goes. I think there's supposed to be a demo coming out this month for PC, I think, and maybe PlayStation. I think PlayStation already got the demo. I think it's going to be specifically PC. So I will definitely be checking out the demo of the game to see if I'm going to like it or not, because I still have yet to beat the first Nioh game and have not played the second game. So I might try to go back and play the first game first, beat that one, then play the second game, and then hopefully we'll be ready for 3. More likely I probably won't be playing 3 anytime soon, because I will be in the process probably playing the first or the second game at that time. Or I could just jump straight into 3, because I think all these games are not really connected to each other regardless. So they're kind of like their own separate stories. It's in the same, timeline, well, not the timeline, it's in the same universe, but you're not playing as the, you're always playing as a different character regardless. So I think I could still play 3 and get into it. So, but I kind of want to go at least beat the first game at least before I even dive into either Nioh 2 or Nioh 3. But yeah, let's get right to it. Let's talk about Rise of the Ronin. What I really like about this game is probably, the historical setting is set in, because this is like a very important timeline in Japan. This was like in a time where the shogunate is pretty much collapsing, essentially. This is pretty much the start of the Meiji era, which means they are pretty much advancing to the point that they're advancing, the culture and technology to Western, style methods. So they're going into gunpowder, cannons, ships. They're pretty much ditching away the swords. Imagine, the movie The Last Samurai, but you actually get to play, as a Ronin in that Pacific timeline. So it's kind of almost like that. Obviously, The Last Samurai is its own separate thing. But it's almost kind of the same thought process, because in this game you have to deal with like the foreigners that are trying to take advantage of Japan, of course, trying to make them into a puppet, trying to get the resources and lands on. I don't know. It's very interesting to see, that aspect of history that you don't really know much about. I don't really know too much about, Japanese history, although I would really love to. And for the most part, I kind of get a little bits of it, because I do love watching a lot of Japanese films, especially the period, films set, in medieval Japan. And like I said, there's a lot of things that I don't really know about Japan until watching those movies, and I was like, wow. So after playing this game, I was like, I kind of see a little bits of all that stuff, from all the other movies that I've watched, in the past, and trying to put my knowledge thought process into trying to figure everything out in this game. But likewise, like I said, the time period is set in, and the history surrounding it is probably what makes this game very interesting. And you do actually get to meet historical, actual real people in the game. Obviously, they don't look exactly how they look in real life. Sometimes they do, but it's based on how they look, but they're a little bit stylized to say the least, because this game is not meant to be in a one-to-one scale historical realistic setting. Like obviously they take some liberty to make it more interesting and also make the game fun. And I do like the aspect of the game though. Like I said, the whole world building is really cool, exploring all these different cities and towns. Just to learn, some of the background of these towns and the different provinces like Yokohama, Indo, Kyoto, before it becomes the now modern, before they become huge cities like they are now in modern times. And second thing I like about this too is the combat. It's also a con too, which I will address this shortly. But the combat and the gameplay, specifically the combat, is really good. Like it feels very Nioh-like. Like if you ever played the first Nioh game, it introduces a stat system where you change like the stats, where you have different moveset, different combos, and it is specifically used against certain enemies that are using a specific style. I think Nioh 1 was the first game to introduce that system, if I remember correctly. And then since then, Team Ninja has been using this system for all the Nioh games, and of course, Rise of the Ronin. I think Wulong also has it too. I can't remember, and I think Dynasty Warriors Origins too. But Dynasty Warriors not really Team Ninja. That's a separate, different team. But I do really like the system though, where you have to like adapt and change your stances when you fight certain enemies. Makes the game play a little bit more interesting, where you're not using the same stance, the same combo stuff every time. You actually need to adapt. And I do really like that, because a lot of enemies in this game, if you're not using the right stance, you are going to have a hard time killing them. And you could kill them with the stance that is not preferred against, but it's just going to make it a lot harder. So it is definitely recommended you switch to a stance that will absolutely break, do the offenses a lot quicker, potentially doing more damage. And this game also introduces a new parry system called Counter Spark. Again, another con and pro, and I will leave that shortly in this video. You now have the ability to counter spark or parry now, so you can parry, certain enemy move sets, especially the one that flashes red, which is very, very important. Most of the time you do need to parry the flash and move most of the time in order to have a good follow-up attack, in order to defeat certain bosses and enemies soon in this game too, which like I said, I definitely struggled quite heavily, because this game has a certain mechanic in it that I do not like. But for the most part though, the combat is really good though, because you not only get different weapon styles, but you also can use different weapons too. You got the dual wielding katanas, you got the big odachis, you got the katana of course, and you got other weapons like the saber, and then you got, I forgot what the weapon's called, but it's like a weapon. It's like a blade weapon that you can like swing around, and you can do like some crazy acrobatic move. I forgot the weapon name for that, but that one is really, really good too. And then of course you can use the standard great swords, from the Europeans. And you can also use different ranged weapon too. You got the pistol, which I have never used the handguns, unfortunately. You got, of course, your standard rifle, which is honestly is the best ranged weapon you can get in this game. Trust me on this. Stick to the gun most of the time. And then of course you got the standard bow. The bow can be good even with a max out perk. They're not really useful against people with hats. For some reason, shooting the arrows with a guy with a straw hat doesn't count as a headshot. It just knocks the head off, which is stupid as hell. It's like, look, I'm shooting right here in the face, literally right in the face. It should hit to the face, but since the head is in the helmet and the headgear is like a whole hitbox, it just destroys the headgear instead. Despite not being a hard helmet, So that's a little bit of a con there. But regardless, though, the bow is definitely preferred for using, for stealth, while while the gun is meant for long range combat, taking out people from afar. And like I said, there's a lot of cool stuff to use in here. You also got your standard items that gives you boosts, buffs. You got lightning, you got fire. I think you got poison too. I think that's the 3 elements you got in this game. And you also got certain items that can give you certain buffs too. And you also got this new super move called like Key Overcharge, something like that, or I forgot what his name, but you pretty much have this little extra meter that builds up Ki. Once you get that to the max, you pretty much become Super Saiyan. You can like do like all kinds of crazy combos. And in order way to lose that, you pretty much got to get hit multiple times. But if you don't get hit multiple times, then you're pretty much in the game still. And I do like that. I think that was introduced later in like the later end of the game though, once you start using that, because the bosses you fight will also use that ability too. It can be a real pain in the ass to do it because you don't get staggered at all, and that applies to them too. They don't get staggered, not one bit, unless you get rid of the whole red meter away. So yeah, there's a lot of in-depth into the combat than it looks. You know, it looks like a basic open world game, but the combat definitely has a lot of depth, and that's probably one of the strongest point this game has is the combat system. It is very good, and also it is a lot of things in it that has problems too. And let's see, and for the most part, the characters that the game introduces to you are, you know, I actually like the majority of the characters of the game. I actually really like them, especially Warrior Mod too. And obviously you got the Blade Twin here with me too, and me here, and my character here too. And the game does have a choice-based system too that does drastically change the outcome of the game. I decided to spare the Blade Twin, even though I really didn't want to kill her for the amount of bullshit she has caused for this whole situation in the story. But I decided to let her live because I was aiming for the best possible ending. So obviously, letting her live is the best possible ending. So that's why she's right there with me, rather than me sitting right there by myself. But yeah, like I said, this game has a lot of good things to it. The cutscenes too, for the most part, are pretty good too. Music, absolutely fantastic. Same music composer for the Fallout series, Dragon Age Origins. He's an absolute Chad, you know. And I hope he continues to make more music for video games or even movies to a certain extent. So, but I think this is the first time using Japanese instruments too, to like, you know, Japanese style music, you know, because he's always making, you know, when you play the Fallout games like Fallout 3, Fallout 4, you can definitely tell his music cues. But in this game, it doesn't really feel like his usual traditional music style. It's definitely something different. But he still did a pretty good job, though, in my opinion. And I think this game does have a new game plus too. Like once you beat this game, you can like go over. You can like switch to like midnight, and that will make pretty much give you more better loot, harder enemies. But like I said, I'm pretty much done with the game. I'm not gonna probably touch on the midnight stuff, but you know, to people that wants to play more of the game, you do have that option, and you also get more masterwork crafting stuff too. You can like, and you got a separate new skill tree too that you can use and invest on too. So it's good that they also leave something at the end for you to try out. For me, I've been in the game. That's all there is to it. But yeah, I think that's a lot of the good things I can cover. I could think of, but let's talk about why I didn't like about this game. Open world. Open world is something that is like a 50-50, a double-edged sword. It depends who does it. And like Ghost of Tsushima did open world really good in my opinion. It was one of the first games I just played non-stop, like literally 7 to 8 hours non-stop a day. Like that, I'm not even fucking joking there. That's how much I really like exploring Ghost of Tsushima. And I think that's what Team Ninja is trying to aim for. They're trying to make a game that's sort of like either an alternative or a competitor to Ghost of Tsushima. But I'm sorry though, Team Ninja, you guys didn't really do the open world. You know, at least they didn't try to elevate the open world aspect. To me, this game feels more like your standard traditional Ubisoft style open world exploration, where you got like the random events that happens, or you go to this tower, you reveal some part of the map. You know, it's your book, by the book, open world exploration. So it's nothing really special. It's not bad, but it's also not great too, because that could lead to more repetitive gameplay sessions. And that's probably why I took a lot of breaks playing this game, because it's almost the same thing. It just gets a little bit stale. And also a little bit stale is that you'll be facing off pretty much the same enemies every time. There is no variation of enemies to fight. Besides, certain story missions, you do fight some interesting new enemies. But other than that, when you're exploring the game, you're all going to be fighting the same traditional guy. You got the ranged guy, you got the regular guy, then you got the somewhat higher tier guys, and then you got the elite, the formidable enemies, and then you got the bosses that you have to fight in certain areas. And it's like I said, it just gets a little bit stale. Visually, graphically wise, it's not the worst looking game, but it's also not the best looking game, especially for a game to be coming out exclusively for the PlayStation 5. That's supposed to be next gen. This game does not feel next gen at all. And I played this game on the original PlayStation 5, and like I said, the game is serviceable. Like it's not the best, bad, not the worst looking game, but it could have been better, in my opinion. It could have been better. There's a lot of texture pops in. The view distance is not the greatest, but mainly a lot of view distance issues to the point that when it gets a certain amount of distance, they'll just disappear, and that could mean life or death, especially when you're doing like this missions, to like clear out a certain area of the camp. Like you see the guy and then he disappeared because the game engine cannot render that far, and I just wish they could have done better with the game's graphics. Because this game is 100 fucking gigs, by the way. Over 100 gigs. If the game's gonna be over 100 gigs, this game better look well damn good too. And for the most part, this game doesn't really look the best. But it is a fun game to play, which is why I didn't really critique on the visuals much, because the game is fine. Like this scene right here, where you're looking at right now, this looks good. Visually, this looks good. It's just that, once you start exploring the game, you could definitely see the visuals taking a huge nosedive. And I can't imagine Nioh 3, since it's going to be using the exact same engine as this game, just like every other Nioh games, and maybe Wulong too, it's not probably going to look the best. Nioh 3 probably look a little bit better because you got all the crazy animation for the yokais, but yeah, they could have done something better, with this game, with the visuals. But it's not the biggest complaint for me. I still played through the game to the end, and I still had a lot of fun. Right, now, number 3, let's talk about the thing I have a little bit more of a critique on. That would be the combat and the key system. This game does introduces special abilities you can use for your weapon style, but for the most of the time I try to use them, they don't do jack shit. They are useless. I try at least most of the new abilities for every weapon style to see if they're worthwhile wasting your stamina/key, and then not worth it. You're better off just doing the parry and using your standard combo attacks rather than using the special abilities. To me, the special abilities, they don't really work well for me. At least I haven't really had the time to experiment with them. Maybe there is a certain build that has, that the abilities could be good, but I don't know. For me, the special abilities for the key is useless. I never use them. I use them only a few times, but I don't use them every time. To the point, I think it's just useless. They don't work well. And let's talk about your stamina key system. This is probably the most frustrating point from my perspective in the game. Key or stamina/poise is pretty much an on-one bar essentially. So if you get hit, you lose it. You lose stamina. And obviously, if you lose all your stamina, you get into a stagger animation where you're stunned, and it takes like a few seconds before your character can recover. And it just gets extremely frustrating to the point it's like, dude, I just want to have fun in the game and try new combo moves, new abilities, but I can't do it if you're getting hit at this. If you're getting hit, you lose stamina. You dodge, you lose stamina. You use the special abilities, you lose stamina. You doing the basic attack, you lose stamina. It's like, at that point, I might as well just stick to what I know best. Just parry and basic combo attacks, which I've been doing the whole fucking game this whole time. Because the game, and sometimes when you fight certain enemies too, it's almost impossible to counter-spark them. The counter-spark is kind of weird. I don't know how it works entirely, but when you can't really counter-spark, multiple attack combo strings. I think for that to work, you have to block. You have to literally block the combo strings, and then you counter spark the last attack they're about to land with that certain combo strings. Like, to me, the counter spark is weird. Like, it varies too on the weapon size too. Sometimes you can do like up to three times. Most of the time you just are only allowed to do counter spark once, and then when you fight against an enemy that can do like a 10-hit fucking combo, you can't do shit. You literally cannot do shit. Like, I think that's the play here. You have to block all the combo string, and then you counter spark the last move, especially the red flashing ones. And yeah, that's another critique too. Some enemies you find in this game are just way too fucking fast. Way too fast to the point you can't even like have room to breathe. And like the Blade Twin, for example, she is ridiculously fast. She has like a 5-6 hit combo that you cannot dodge or counter spark. You have to freaking block those moves. And then I think the most annoying boss to fight was Sato when you're doing that side mission with him. He has some of the craziest fucking move ever. Like, he could like do some crazy ninja shit. He could do like blade shit at you too. Like, he could do like the fucking shuriken at you like so fast. Like, you got no time to react. it's just frustrated to the point like, I'm not having fun with the game if I can't play the game properly if I'm like losing my stamina for every single thing I do in this game. I think Nioh has the same thing too, but Nioh is a little bit more forgiving, you know. But in this game, they're doing all these enemies at once and they expect you to fucking, deal with it. And obviously you do because you got different weapon styles that are designed to take out multiple enemies, like the Great Sword and all that stuff. But I just find it frustrating. Maybe I was just being bad at the game, to be honest. I wasn't experimenting different weapon builds enough, to get a good feel, a feel of them. It could just be a me problem. I know I'm not the best Rise of the Ronin player. I just want to play through the game and have fun, whichever style I like the most. And like I said, the combat system, for the most part, with the stamina key, is just really frustrating. I just wish, they give me a little bit more breathing room, some little bit breathing room to like recover and experiment different abilities. But unfortunately, all the abilities in this game are useless. They don't work well. They look nice, they look fancy, they're flashy, but when I'm looking at damage it does to them, it does nothing almost. So that's what I'm thinking. It's like I don't care about the special abilities. And just like every other Team Ninja game, so this game has the same problem with the loot system and the crafting too. You just get way too many fucking loot to the point it just gets overwhelming. To the point, it's very tedious to navigate all your UIs to break down or sell all the junk gear that you don't need. There has to be they gotta implement a new system for Nioh 3 to make it more accessible, make it more easier and faster to navigate rather than going one by one, freaking navigating all the junk shit you want to sell or break down. And yeah, and the crafting is pretty basic too. Minor grab though, but yeah, the crafting is not really nothing to be special about. You can use that to craft like more ammo, more health items, use it to upgrade weapons. But the way this game scales with your level is doesn't matter how good of a gear you got and the armor you got. The rating, in my opinion, doesn't really matter because you're gonna die really fast regardless in this game. So the stats, for the most part, don't really matter. The loot is just way too much to the point it gets tedious to like navigate through it. And oh yeah, the AI companions in this game are fucking useless. They're just there as bait essentially. They're just standing most of the time looking at the enemy while there's me doing all the action, but they stand in the background doing nothing for the most part. Like I said, they're just there for bait. They're not really useful. Besides, giving you some breathing room. That is your only breathing room. It's like letting your companions taking the hit. But yeah, I think that's all I can talk about. Why I didn't like about this game. But the AI companions is definitely not a good thing in this game too. They could have done a better job. But other than that, guys, I got really nothing else to say about Rise of the Ronin. I don't want to make this a very long video. I don't want to rant on for far too long. But would I recommend this game? I would say if you like Team Ninjas, you like the Nioh games, the Nioh games like 1, 2, and 3 coming out soon, and you love Team Ninja, you love open world games, and you want a game that's going to be, providing you a challenge with a deep combat system, you are going to probably like this game. I would say yes. For me, I like this game because, the combat for it is actually pretty good. I think it's a good alternative compared to games like, Assassin's Creed Shadows. But I don't think it's not nowhere near as good and polished as Ghost of Tsushima. In fact, I think even Ghost of Utah will probably be a better gameplay experience than this. But yeah, I would say I'll recommend picking this game up. I'll probably would highly recommend picking this game up for on sale at least, because I think this game is $60 right now, and this game has been out for a year. So honestly, I wouldn't really pay full price for this game, but for when it's on sale for like $40 or even $30, yeah, pick it up. But yeah, my overall rating for this game, I'll probably give it a probably an 8 out of 10. I would say it's a solid game. It has a lot of problems and issues, but yeah, I'll definitely give this game probably an 8 because I really did enjoy this game for the most part. I did really enjoy it. I like the historical period that this game is taking place in. I like the majority of the characters. Oh yeah, one more bad thing too is the story. The story is not really the greatest. And I don't think it didn't really matter to if you pick the shogunate or anti-shogunate. I don't think the choices don't really matter that much when it comes to the main story. Like for like deciding characters' fate though, that does matter. But for the main story aspect, it doesn't really matter in my opinion. So I think they kind of fucked up on that too. The story is not that great. Plus, Team Ninja for some reason had the audacity to spoil the whole fucking story at the opening intro of this game too. Why do you add that? So now I already know for a fact I'm gonna fight my Blade twin. She's gonna be the main bad guy. I already know that aspect already, so it's like they kind of spoiled that already in the opening intro, which I did not really like at all. Like, but it is what it is. It's a minor gripe, but yeah, the story is nothing to be, it's not really groundbreaking. It's basic. It's kind of almost not. It's kind of almost inconsistent in a lot of way too, because the choice you make doesn't matter. So what's the whole point? Choosing anti-shogunate or shogunate if the story is going to lead to the same result, to the same ending. That's just my gripe, but yeah, I'm gonna end it for now. 8 out of 10. It's a solid game, and I would recommend you guys trying this game out when it goes on sale. But yeah, guys, that is going to be the end of Rise of the Ronin. It's been a long ride, and I'm very happy that we managed to complete this game from start to finish. And now that we're leaving opening records for a new game to replace for Saturday uploads, I have made a YouTube post and a poll where you guys can decide which game I should choose to replace Rise of the Ronin on Saturday. I already got 2. I might even add a potentially possible third option too. So we just have to see, guys. But yeah, 8 out of 10. Would I play this game every game? Probably not. Like I already experienced everything what I can in this game, so I'm pretty much done. I am ready to move on. But I will definitely remember Team Ninja, making Rise of the Ronin and my experience playing this game. Hopefully, Team Ninja will improve a lot of the problems they have in this game with Nioh 3. If Nioh 3 is going to be pretty much Rise of the Ronin, but with yokais and magic. I really hope they can learn all the lessons from this game and make a much better experience in Nioh 3. But other than that, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed the playthrough as a whole. If you guys did, hit the like button in this video. If you guys didn't, hit the dislike button. It's all up to you. Again, let me know, guys, which games you want me to play on Saturdays. I have a YouTube poll right now. It is live. Make your choice, and then I will play that game for Saturday uploads. But other than that, wish the best of luck for Team Ninja. Keep up the good work. Make Nioh 3 great, and of course, if you're going to make a new Ninja Gaiden game, please make it good. Oh yeah, and as again, I still need to beat Ninja Gaiden 4, so who knows, that might replace for Saturdays too. But yeah, guys, I'm going to end it here, guys. Until then, guys, I will see you in the next one. Peace.